Hi, I'm Tamitha Skov with your solar storm forecast for the week of April 22nd. The sun has brought with it the development of no less than 7 active regions this week, but none of them happen to be major flare players at the moment. The best flare we've got is region 2321, and despite its magnetic complexity, it has failed to give us anything other than an Earth-directed solar storm which it launched on the 18th, which should hit us by the 22nd, which is now, but more on that in a minute. Switching to our M-flare threat meter, you can see the last M-class flare we had was back on the 12th, but since then it's been pretty much just C flares just here and there, so there's not really been a lot of activity to report. Now, we may not have had much flare activity, but switching to solar storm levels, you can see we actually did have a decent solar storm back on the 10th that lingered in through the 11th. Things quieted down for a little while, but then around the 14th and 15th, we hit a high-speed stream that was actually much stronger and much faster wind than predicted, and this caused extended storming that lasted through the 15th and in through the 17th. Now, things have begun to quiet back down, but for that 48 hours or so, the ham radio operator bands were terrible. There are a lot of degradation, and in some cases were completely unusable. And this extended period of storming brought gorgeous aurora all over the world as well. You can see from this satellite image, this is SUSY data from DMSP, I think Flight 16. You can see we have very, very bright aurora from this storm, Aurora Australis, both on the 15th and the 16th. We had aurora, if you can see it through the sun glow, you can see very bright aurora over USA and Canada. We also had aurora in the UK and also in Russia. And just like the satellite images show, the aurora were incredibly bright. In the south, you could see them in Queensland, and they lit the skies in Tasmania. Now in the north, you saw rainbow colors in Estonia. They lit the clouds pink in Ireland, and they came as far south as the Netherlands and in Denmark. Now in Saskatchewan and Canada, they had some of the best shows. You had coronas in Edmonton and also in Alaska. You had these crazy bursty and pulsating aurora in Alberta, also in Washington and in North Idaho, and it became as far south as Wyoming. Now, getting back to that solar storm, on the left here you can see these are difference images showing the sun, and that black region is actually the solar storm lifting off of the sun. On the right are coronagraphs. These are difference images again, and that green region, that halo surrounding the sun, is actually that solar storm lifting off the sun and coming towards us. So the observations show that this is an Earth-directed solar storm. Switching to our prediction model Enlil, this is NOAA's version of the model. The top panel is density, the bottom panel is velocity. And you can see that solar storm coming out just directly headed towards Earth. And if you look closely, you can actually see that it's embedded in a high-speed stream. Now the storm is expected to hit us by the end of the 21st, but we should see some effects. As a matter of fact, we are seeing some effects already from that high-speed stream, which might actually intensify the storm. So expect storming by the 21st and in through the 22nd. Returning to the disk, you can see region 2321 is now moving out of the Earth strike zone and onto the west limb. It should disappear from Earth view in about a couple days or so. Now, we still have a ton of active regions on the Earth-facing disk, but none of them are M-flare producers at this time, so NOAA is keeping their M-flare risk reasonably low. The only thing we have is some new regions that are rotating onto the Earth-facing limb, and they may bring with them a promise of more activity. Switching to your solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are anticipating a very large hit from that solar storm because it's coupled with that high-speed stream and that fast wind. We're already seeing that fast wind coming, and it's about 600 kilometers a second, which is pretty fast. So once that storm hits, NOAA is predicting at high latitudes we will see a major storm, which is a G2 class storm or above, and that will happen on the 21st if it hits on the 21st or into the 22nd, and possibly a chance even into the 23rd before things begin to settle down. At mid-latitudes, we're only expecting about a minor storm on the 22nd with only about a 5% possibility of a major storm, and then things will begin to calm down a bit. But it won't settle down completely because we have yet another high-speed stream that might be beginning to impact us right around the 24th or 25th. Switching to your solar flare and particle radiation storm outlook over the coming week, despite the fact that we have a lot of active regions on the Earth-facing disk right now, none of them are M-flare producers. NOAA's only giving us about a 15% chance of an M-class flare over the coming days because all of these regions seem to be reasonably stable. The biggest players are region 2324 and 2325, but we do have some new regions that are rotating onto the east limb, and if they begin to produce flares, all of these numbers will change. So this looks like it's going to be yet another exciting week. We have that solar storm that we anticipate is going to hit any time now. In fact, we already are seeing some high-speed wind ahead of that solar storm, so it definitely could reach a G2 level. That is a KP of 6 or above. Now what that means is that you amateur radio operators and you GPS operators, you might see some issues either on the bands or with your GPS. Also satellite internet and phone might be disrupted here and there, just some intermittent issues. But other than that, Aurora photographers, get your cameras out because we might have yet another opportunity to see Aurora clear down to mid-latitudes. Oh, and by the way, as of this posting, we are just getting our first M-class flare since April 12th. It's unfortunately from region 2322, so it's rotating off of the west limb now, so we may not see anything more than that. But hey, at least we've gotten an M-class flare. I'm Tamitha Skov. Thank you for watching.